Hello, hello, my friends. Welcome to Limitless. This is a training specifically crafted for high performers who want to work through limiting beliefs. We are going to hop right into it. Welcome. My name is Michelle Holmes. I am a workplace wellness consultant, speaker, author, podcast host of the Flourish podcast. Let us know if you're a listener. I am also a wife, mom, and recovering workaholic, and I have a lot to say in regards to workplace wellness, work-life balance, and burnout, of course. So we're going to hop right in, and today we are going to talk about the lies that we tell ourselves that keep us stuck when it comes to limiting beliefs, common limiting beliefs for high performers, so you know what to look out for, 3 truths about limiting beliefs that you need to know if you want to actually change them, and your roadmap to becoming limitless. So, how to actually work through these. If you've been a part of my community, you know that I love action oriented trainings, and so I don't leave you with just the hypothetical. I give you some skills and some things to start implementing immediately, so you'll be able to walk away with some really great value today. Okay, so my friends, if you have been a part of my community or recently discovered me, you are most likely a high performer. You are someone who I would consider a mover and a shaker. You like to get things done. You might also be a perfectionist. You might be feeling burnt out with your work. You want to do some good in the world, but there's also this level of we almost sacrifice ourselves to do that sometimes. So we're burning the candle at both ends, or things are coming up to the surface. And so that's probably why you are here, because things have come up for you and you've maybe heard about limiting beliefs. So I would just like to say our personal development journey has kept some of us really, really busy. The people that I speak to are not the ones who don't do anything to improve themselves. We're actively trying to improve ourselves. And for some of us, we've been doing this for a while. So we have tried some things, but I want to talk briefly about where we have gone wrong. So the lies that we sometimes tell ourselves. So these are some myths that when I speak with people, I find there's some correlation here with some of these myths and some of the experiences that people are having when it comes to what it's like to be a high performer, what it's like to be successful, what it's like to be working in the working world lately. So we might tell ourselves something like, if I just had a different boss or a different job, different career, I would be less stressed. So I see a lot of people have very, very high stress levels, and this is something that we're seeing ramp up even over the last couple of years, especially. So we think to ourselves, sometimes we make the excuse, well, if I change my career, I would be less stressed. Or if I changed my role or had a different boss, different team, things would be better for me. We also might say something like, I just need better time management. And that has been a very interesting thing for people to discover that that's actually not true. We, of course, want to manage our time well, but this typically doesn't really improve anything. This hyper productivity, the scheduling all of our days, all of our minutes, and everything typically is not improving our levels of stress or burnout or helping things become really more well managed. This is a myth that we can do that by time management. We might also say or feel, if we're not saying this or sharing this with people, but we might feel like we're broken. We might feel helpless. We might feel like we really just don't have the answers, or we wonder if we've gone too far down a path that wasn't meant for us. So when I speak with people who are burnt out or stressed, they are feeling like they've made some choices and they feel stuck. So maybe you can relate to that. We might also say, I need more blank, and then I will be okay. That could be anything, like insert anything into that blank there. I need more time. I need more money. I need more support. Um, I need a better team or family or whatever that might be. And then it will be okay. I will be able to manage this. I just need to get through this hump, and then we'll be in the clear. We might also say, I just need to get to the bottom of this. This is a big one for the people who are continually on the hamster wheel of like personal development. You are continually trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be the most effective? What's going to be the most impactful? What do you need? Why do you need it? What could you try differently or better? All of that, getting to the bottom of whatever it is. In burnout, we see people that are like, what do I need to do to get to the bottom of this? And they're trying all of the things. And lastly, if I change my outside environment, I can move past this. So if we change anything in our outside environment, maybe our circumstance, our job, our role, our activities, how we spend our time, then we can move past this difficult experience that we're having and no longer, we're just magically no longer stressed or no longer burnt out. So let's discuss some of these. If I had a different job or boss or career, I would be less stressed. So this doesn't work because stress, anxiety, and burnout are all internal experiences. So unless you can figure out how to modulate the internal capacity and expand in your own internal experience of the stress, anxiety, and burnout, you'll never find yourself able to really improve at the root, because no matter what you change, you will still find yourself exactly where you've always been because you don't have the internal capacity that's any different. So you haven't increased the ability to handle your stress. You haven't gotten to the root of what's actually causing your burnout. And it's usually not the job or the boss or the career. Yes, these things can improve, but most people find that they will improve for a short time and then they find themselves exactly in the same place that they were, and they're like, what, I'm a little confused here. I don't know why I haven't changed my level of stress when I have a completely different job. It's just new stressors, right? So our internal response to those stressors has not been changed. We just change what we stress about. This is a very, very common experience. I just need better time management, none of the time management techniques, calendar blocking, even biohacks get at the root. At best, they are a temporary band-aid and will eventually stop working. Yes, we will feel great with our perfectly color-coded calendar. Feels really good, looks pretty, very organized. However, that's not going to change anything for us when it comes to being able to actually flourish in our work. I'm broken. I feel helpless. Of course, I want to have a high level of self-compassion here. But the truth is that the symptoms that we're feeling, things like being people pleasers or procrastinators or perfectionists, everything that starts with a P, for us to be stressed and to feel like we don't have the right work-life balance, that we are struggling with burnout. These are symptoms of an adaptation of the nervous system. So we can actually change that capacity, like I said, and change that internal experience by being able to change how we respond to stressors in our lives. It's up to us to change, so we're never broken and we're never helpless. We can improve our situation. I need more blank and then I will be okay. Honestly, this is just a story that we tell ourselves when we're hoping that we will be rescued, or as a shortcut sometimes to even doing the work that we know we need to do to improve. It's hard, it's not easy, it does take time, it takes energy, takes commitment. Of course, resources matter. If we say, I need more money and then this will change my situation, there's a truth to that. Of course, things can really help us in our lives. I'm definitely not discounting that. But to always think that the answer is something that we need, this thing that's outside of us, that seems far away or that we don't have access to right now, is very disempowering. So we want to be able to really take our power back and know that we can do something right now today. I just need to get to the bottom of this. Like I said, this keeps us stuck on this hamster wheel of wellness or personal development where we're always searching, but we're not finding what we seek. And the thing about this is that cognitive understanding is not where change actually occurs for the symptoms that we're experiencing. It's just keeping us from taking action. So this reminds me of the feeling that a lot of people okay, so perfect example here is when we are thinking of going on a new workout plan, and we have developed the workout plan. We have it in our calendar, or we've downloaded the PDF for the workout plan, or whatever. We buy the clothes, the workout clothes, we schedule it in, we research what's the best one, and um, all of that is keeping us from actually doing the workout. So we haven't done the workout. And we just keep thinking we're going to do the workout, and we're getting ready to do the workout, and we're getting to the bottom of what exactly the best workout is and could possibly be for us, when really the answer is, okay, well, if you want to get better, more fit, then start working out, and you can do that right now. You can walk out your door right now and move your body. And if I change my outside environment, I can move past this. Obviously, a supportive, nurturing environment that we create for ourselves is very important. But it only takes us so far, because guess what? We can't control everything. We can't micromanage all parts of our lives. Sometimes things are going to happen. They're not going to be fun. They're going to be difficult. We're going to have to move through them. And we're not going to be able to necessarily change them. And that should not keep us stuck and suffering. Okay, so let's get into what this training is all about in terms of the actual limiting beliefs here. So I hope right now I've done a good enough job of setting you up for, why does this matter? Why are we talking about limiting beliefs? And really, the reason that we're about to talk about these limiting beliefs here is because that the limiting beliefs are affecting us and driving us towards these things. So, like I said, people pleasing, perfectionism, burnout, stress, all of these things are kind of these symptoms of this bigger problem. And so for us to flourish at work and to have the work-life balance, to really feel resilient and to be able to cultivate that, we want to get to the root of what's going to actually make the change for us. And this is where people miss the mark. So if you're like paying attention so far, those things that we may have told ourselves are kind of just where we're missing the mark as we're moving forward and trying to improve our situation. So if we go these levels deeper, then we can get into limiting beliefs and how those are impacting us. So a limiting belief is a thought, an opinion, state of mind, or conviction that you believe to be absolutely true, but that belief holds you back in some way. So it's a limit. It's limiting us in some way. And I like to use this analogy here of these colored glasses. So we put on the colored glasses, and then our whole perspective is colored with this lens. So it really does change the perspective that we have. And we'll get into, let's see. Yeah, we'll get into this a little bit more, but let me just further explain here. So when you put your colored glasses on, you are seeing things with this perspective, and um the limiting belief is like these permanent colored lenses that we don't even know that we're wearing half the time. So we want to be able to really take those off, change it up, and see things much more clearly for what they actually are. Unfortunately, what we'll discover here is that these glasses come on when we have those experiences. So throughout our life. And I'll give you some examples as we go through here, but think of it like the lens that you see the world through. So this limiting belief colors your world view. Okay, and they prevent us and get in the way for us to fulfill our full potential, to access true healing. Uh, they prevent us from getting out of our comfort zone, trying new things, maybe trying grand and great and amazing things, achieving our goals, going after our desires, and cultivating an inner growth relationship with ourselves. Okay, so they're they really are limiting us, and oftentimes we're not even aware that they're limiting us until maybe you discover something like this, or you read about them, or you begin to have this awareness of, oh, okay, maybe something a little bit deeper is happening. So they show up in different ways for us. So if we have limiting beliefs, and we'll go over some of the common ones for high performers, but if we have a controlling kind of perspective where we need to control or micromanage, if we're feeling angry and resentful, burnt out, wired but tired, never really turning off, if we're having any type of depression, people pleasing, procrastination, perfectionism, there's my 3 Ps there. If we're unable to delegate, if we have this level of anxiety, if we criticize ourselves, if we have a level of codependence with someone, or if we overcommit ourselves, these can all be indications that there's something further that we need to investigate at the root in order to truly change. So, common limiting beliefs for high performers. We may think, my work is hard. My salary means I must always be working. So if we have this sort of limiting belief, we likely have gotten that from some experience that we've had in the past, where we have maybe not even directly experienced this, but we've kind of absorbed it from someone near us, dear to us, who has a view of what work is. So we might think, the example I give for this one particularly is if we have a father who comes home after work and he's exhausted and he just always continually is going on about how hard it is to work, how hard it is to make good money, how hard it is, and how important it is to be such a hard worker, especially if you're getting paid well. Well, if we have that type of dad in our environment, then we're going to begin absorbing that. So we're going to take some of his worldview as our own worldview. So, like, we're putting on the colored lenses at that point. And so then we're internalizing that. And then how do you think that that affects us as we go throughout our life? Well, we have this perspective that maybe we developed when we were 6 years old, and we're thinking work really is hard. And so we may make choices that continue that perspective. So we are going to work extra hard. We are going to work long hours. We might find ourselves complaining about work. We might get that raise, but then feel like we have to work 50% more. So our Friday night is now spent at the office or at home sending emails when before we would have finally clocked out. So we have that perspective. Another one is I am not worthy of blank. So maybe that is feeling like we're unworthy of getting help, getting that support, having that team step in. We think that we have to have all the answers. We might also say, well, I'm not worthy of the role that pays really well. And we have this internal dialogue and self-criticism about ourselves. We're not worthy of rest, for instance, where we need to, this is another one here, but I need to earn rest. So with the I need to earn rest, we might think, well, I can't just take some time off. I haven't truly earned it, even though that would be what I really need to do well right now. Or I can't stop my day on a Saturday and just take a moment to do nurturing and nourishing activities for myself. I need to go, 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 go. And I see that a lot with people where they're constantly stuck in this busyness. We might also say I'm not good enough or I'm an imposter. If you're really identify with the imposter syndrome and some of the symptoms on how that shows up, I have a whole other training specific to imposter syndrome. Please reach out and I will direct you to that. But I'm not good enough. Of course, this is like a deep wound for people. But how do you think we would operate if we feel like we're not good enough? We might feel like we have to continue to prove ourselves, where we're proving ourselves to everybody, including ourselves. We're proving ourselves to our high school friends, and we're proving ourselves to our parents and to our boss and our team. We are working ourselves, burning the candle on both ends because we feel like we just don't have that inherent value. So that, of course, is something that has likely developed when we have gone through these experiences from all the way into like childhood and adolescence. I can't trust anyone, or I can't trust myself. This is a big one for the people who I like to call them the office moms or dads, the people who feel like they have to do everything and they can't delegate. They also, on the other end, I can't trust myself, is something like I can't trust myself to make the good decision, or I can't trust myself to be correct in the next steps I'm going to take. I can't just rest in who I am. So there's always this like this doing, or even sometimes this yearning for more. Well, if I can't trust myself, then do I need another certification? Do I need to go back to college? Do I need a master's degree? Like, how do I get more? And how can I make it so that I suddenly become trustworthy? So that, of course, we want to be able to rest in our own knowing and our own experience, and have the confidence of what it's like to um, maybe delegate to other people to take a load off of us, but also to be able to make the decisions that are helpful to us and to feel really good about that. So having that kind of that self-confidence is the opposite of this limiting belief. And I don't have enough time or resources. This one is like that endless feeling of I just don't have enough. Like, I don't have enough time. And I find people say this quite often. It kind of reminds me of when people are always like, well, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. How are you doing? Oh, there's so much to do. I'm go, 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 go. And some people have truly scheduled their lives that way, and their outside circumstances really are very, very busy. Um, but at the same time, what's driving that? And alternatively, sometimes we're not quite as busy as we perceive ourselves to be. And so we're actually just thinking of this, it's like a feeling. It's not necessarily the reality, but it's the feeling of I have so much to do, when in reality it's more of like an overwhelm than it is the actual, okay, if we looked at what you need to get done, if we looked at what's important for you to get done, would you really not have enough time? Right? We all have the same amount of time in the day. Of course, many of us have way different ways of using that time. If you're a parent versus not a parent, your time looks very different. Trust me. But I will say, yes, many times this limiting belief is just driving us, where we truly feel like we don't have enough time or money, resources, help, whatever it might be. So, which of those resonate with you? Feel free to put them in the chat, or just take a mental note if you don't want to share, no pressure. Okay, so limiting beliefs are rooted in past learning. Like the story that I gave you, we have developed those limiting beliefs based on experiences. And these could come from any type of experience. For anyone, like anyone's experience, they can be so different. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's a good experience or a bad experience. What matters is that we understand and begin to have this awareness of the things that we have been through really do affect us and give us this worldview and change our perspective. So we will avoid truly addressing our limiting beliefs until we no longer can. So truly, I mean, people who are watching my trainings typically are not like, oh, everything in my life is amazing, 100% A plus, right? We want to do something because we have experienced something that we don't like in our life. So maybe for you that's stress, burnout, all the things that I said here, but we don't wake up and say, what can I do with my limiting beliefs today? Right? We kind of avoid them until they become this like pain in our side, where we're like, okay, yeah, I guess I do need to take a look at this a little bit more. included this here. As long as I keep moving and stay busy, it'll keep my mind off the pain. That's where a lot of people are before they dive into some of these more personal development type concepts. So let's uncover the truth. So, limiting beliefs are restrictive. Yes, they hold us back, but they are also what we think and what we feel are going to keep us safe, especially what we feel is going to keep us safe. So this is where the nervous system comes into play here, and the limiting belief of work is hard, with the example I gave earlier. If we have that dad who's saying work is hard, and we're believing that and we're absorbing that and internalizing that, then if I go through my whole life feeling like work is hard, that does hold me back, because there are some people who have a completely different belief about what work really is. Uh, and so if we're thinking, okay, work is hard, we're going to have things that come up where that limiting belief is being proven to ourselves. We're proving to ourselves that work is hard. And partly that's to keep us safe. So there's a couple of things that I want to say here with this keep us safe part, because number one, when we're 6 and hearing our dad say that work is hard, we want to agree with him, right? We want to say, okay, yep, you're right. Um, dads know everything. When we're 6 years old, dads know everything. And so we're going to agree. And so we're going to spend a substantial part of our life likely proving him to be right, proving our worldview to be right. And so the keep us safe part is, well, we want to be safe in that relationship with him from that learning experience. So we want to agree, because if we disagree, that doesn't feel good when you're 6. If you think your dad doesn't know what he's talking about, that's not a comfortable feeling for us. But then on the other side, for us to be making these decisions throughout our life that's proving that work truly is hard, well, that's a form of keeping us safe in its own right, because we are feeling like we are subconsciously we're needing to prove that, because what would it be like if we changed our whole perspective and suddenly work wasn't hard? That would be an uncomfortable feeling for us as well, because we've gone through our whole life having this understanding of work being really hard. So to change it up suddenly is also really uncomfortable. That brings up a lot. We might say, okay, well, if work isn't hard, well, then I think that I don't need the salary that I deserve because it's not hard for me. Or I feel like I'm missing something because am I doing a good job because this comes too easy for me? Like there's all these things, and we might think, oh, it'd be wonderful to wave a magic wand and to feel like work suddenly was so easy. But actually, that can be a very dysregulating state for us to just be on the opposite spectrum of what we have believed and what we have internalized for our whole lives. So these beliefs hold us back, but they also keep us safe, of course. So our beliefs stem from needing to create safety based on our past learning, which is sometimes painful past learning, but doesn't always need to be painful. For me, for my dad, if I'm 6 years old and I have this experience, that may not be painful for me um, to really internalize that. That wasn't a particularly bad experience, let's say. But sometimes there are these painful experiences that we've gone through. I just want to clarify here, because we're always learning. We're always taking into account the things that we go through in life, and we're taking bits and pieces and we're filing them and putting them in our brain and organizing them in a certain way. And so we're developing this perspective based on these interactions. And so it doesn't have to be this ginormous, painful, or really unenjoyable, uncomfortable interaction or a trauma that we have gone through, like a big T trauma. It doesn't have to be that all the time. We gain this information as we are going through our day, right? That's why it's so subconscious oftentimes, is because we're really not aware. Oh, okay, I just took that away. I went through middle school and this is what I took away from middle school. I had a really interesting college experience. This is what I took away from that experience. It's very subconscious for the majority when we're talking about limiting beliefs. They take work to change. So these are subconscious patterns. Like I said, we have to do the work around bringing them to our consciousness. So for us, this means for the healing to occur, we really do have to create this new level of safety for ourselves. And that's that internal capacity I was talking about. So this new level of safety, you're like, oh, what does that mean? Safety. Of course I'm safe. No, we're talking about the nervous system. We're talking about this mental wellness, this level of safety, this level of being and feeling and security there, so that we're not a prisoner of what we've gone through in the past. Okay, so lastly, we can change them. So, of course, we can work on our limiting beliefs. We can change them. We can grow from them. We can grow through them when we are able to challenge them and create that new level of safety. So, remember, our nervous system's job is to keep us safe. We love our nervous system for that. We've been around for a long time with a nervous system that is working properly to keep us safe. The problem is sometimes when we have these subconscious things that are coming up for us, our nervous system is reacting and basing itself on these experiences that we've been through, where um, we can actually change how we respond. We can modulate that. When we are able to create that new level of safety, we're interrupting the fight or flight that our nervous system feels, and we're creating a new, more supportive reality. So let's talk about the roadmap. So our roadmap here, I'm going to give you the tangible things, the actionable things that you are able to do right now. So let's say you have this awareness of something that came up for you. So if you go back and if you've taken that mental note on a limiting belief that you feel drawn to that might be impacting you, you have this knowing of, oh yeah, I definitely need to work on this. Maybe it's come up for you before. If it hasn't, start looking for that. But we want to very first develop the self-awareness. So an easy way to do this that I think everyone needs to cultivate more of in their life is actually doing a body scan. Because when we are so in our heads, we're thinking, we're so cognitively based, we're not actually feeling. And so we start there. That's how we have this self-awareness for true health, for true vitality. We really do want this body, mind, and spirit together. A lot of us have the mind, we have the brain, we are thinking, my experience as an engineer with all of my classmates is people are very in their heads. I know that for myself as well. So we want to drop into our body, right? We want to get that self-awareness. So where am I feeling tension or discomfort? And we just take a breath there. What does it feel like? Where is it? How does it come up for me? What experience am I having? If we're walking into a meeting and we're feeling like we're having a panic attack, I really want you to understand the sensation that you're feeling in your body. Feel it, be aware of it. So once we're aware of that sensation, wherever it might be, or having this self-awareness of, oh, I feel tense. Oh, my shoulders feel tense. It's like when we're scrolling social media and we have that, sometimes I'll see, every so often someone will post, just a reminder, relax your jaw. I follow a lot of therapists and mind body practitioners and everything. And so their post will be like, just a reminder, just relax your jaw. And every single time that I've come across that, I have found I'm kind of clenching my jaw, right? I'm going through my day. Ooh. So we're going to soften. We're going to become aware of it, and then we're going to soften. So we're going to relax the tension in our body. This is going to turn off the fight or flight that our nervous system is feeling. And this is going to allow us to think more clearly, because when we're tense, our body truly is in that state of, oh, I need to do something right now, fight or flight. And we're not really in the state of being able to have this calm, cool, collected kind of deal here. So far, if we have this limiting belief that we know has come up, when we're feeling it the next time, become self-aware and feel, okay, well, how does it feel? And how are you feeling about the limiting belief? If you bring that to your awareness, and then can we soften? Can we relax the tension in our body? So I'll remind you here, PBR, pause, breathe, relax. So we're going to pause for a moment. We're going to breathe, and we are going to relax. So we're going to become aware, and we're going to unclench our muscles, right? Stop clenching your butt. We're going to stop clenching our jaw. We're going to relax. And then I want you to take a moment to validate yourself and your feelings. So, acknowledge how you feel with self-compassion. This honestly gets overlooked so often because people are just wanting to get to the next step. People are just wanting to make the feeling go away. We need to have compassion for ourselves and our experience and all of the experiences that we've had and the feeling that comes up for ourselves. There are no bad feelings. So we want to take a moment and validate, okay, well, how am I feeling in this moment? And how do I feel about this limiting belief? And what is coming up for me? What's making me scared? What's making me sad or disappointed? What's making me angry? And why might that be? And instead of criticism, or instead of pushing it away or down, we want to just accept that that's our experience and validate that we've had life experience up until this point that has led us to this. And so we have this feeling, and that's okay for us to have a feeling, and we don't need to push it away. We don't need to, not even acknowledge it at all. We can exist with the feeling when it comes to something like, okay, if we feel like we don't deserve this, then how do we feel the next time that that's like triggered? The next time that is lit up for us, how are we feeling? Acknowledge that. Okay. And then we can go deeper. So this is where the past learning comes in. Maybe it's painful, maybe it's not, but here's a couple questions to ask yourself. If you think back to other times in your life, when might this belief or self-talk have originated? Where did this come from for you? Was there an experience that you can recall, like being 6 years old with your dad, where you're like, okay, yeah, that's the first time I've felt that way? What past learning made it true for you at the time? So we're not just making things up over here. We're getting we're getting these signals, and then we're internalizing them. So what past learning made this belief true at the time? With all that you know now, do you still believe it to be true? You have resources, you have a whole plethora of life experiences. You have created this life over the course of your lifetime. You have this level of resilience. So do you still believe whatever that limiting belief is? Is that true for you? Does it have to be true? Can we challenge it? Could you change it to serve you better? And how? How might you change it to serve you better? Okay, and then lastly is our intention. So this is taking action intentionally. So we don't want to just be a victim of the limiting belief. We don't want to just sit in the limiting belief forever and have it affect us and not really be able to do anything about it. We want to be able to take action that changes our dynamic with ourselves. So we might ask ourselves, how do I hope to handle this situation? What would make me proud of myself? What is my ideal outcome? What action should I take to help my ideal outcome come to life? And what would I do if I knew I wouldn't fail? So when that limiting belief, we're working with it, we're changing it, we're challenging it, we're deciding, where do we go? How do we best handle this? How can we challenge it with integrity for ourselves? Okay, so we can change our limiting beliefs. I hope that so far you were able to identify kind of what might come up for you in this, give you some pointers and some tips for becoming self-aware moving forward through this, because I don't expect you to have a full blueprint of all of your limiting beliefs and when they started, how they occur, how they affect you, the choices you're making for them. This is something that's developing, right? So this is a journey. This is a bit of effort here, but we do have the power to grow. We have the power to cultivate change in our lives and our work experience. We can heal. We are not broken. Not a single person ever is broken or too far gone. That is my true belief when it comes to my mission in life. I believe we are all meant to flourish, and that is my mission in life, to encourage you on your own journey and shed some light on what could be happening for you and how we can overcome and build resilience. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this training today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. What will you take action on today? Is there something that you can take away from this training? We've spent about 50 minutes together here. Is there something that you can take action on that you've taken away from this? Use this work for your good. Let's connect on LinkedIn if we are not connected already. You can find me at tinyurl.com/Michelle on LI. That stands for LinkedIn. So Michelle on LI. You will be taken to my profile. Feel free to send me a friend request. And if you need further support, get on my email list. Find out what I'm currently offering in terms of both free and paid resources. I typically work with corporations, organizations who are looking for cultivating that work-life balance and workplace wellness at their organization. I do occasionally have some offerings for human beings one-on-one or in a more personalized setting. So depending on if you are an organization looking for a workshop or somebody who might be looking for coaching or a challenge or something like that, get on the email list. You can go to flourishbymichelle.com/list and you'll be added to my email list to find out whatever I'm promoting currently. Thank you for joining me, and I wish you an awesome rest of your day.